Well, welcome to Channel 22 Sports, and we are at Leuzinger. Play just underway. Dave Marks along with Rufus Washington. Rufus will be joining us momentarily. We're having a couple of audio difficulties, but he is here in spirit, and he'll be with you in voice very shortly. Until then, we'll just kind of carry on. This is the battle for supremacy in the neighborhood between Hawthorne and Leuzinger, and you see the Leuzinger Olympians in white with the ball, whipping it around on the outside. We'll pick up the starters for you as we go for Leuzinger. Driving down the lane, running one-hand shot is blocked by Sam O'Belly, and here come the Cougars with a breakout. That's freshman Thomas Brown, head of the pack, not able to get it. The ball is knocked out of bounds. It's going to stay by way of Hawthorne. We are just literally 40-some-odd seconds into the ball game. O'Belly in deep. We'll throw it back out. It's already 2-0 in favor of Leuzinger. And here's a three-point shot that's up and no good from the right as it is missed by Terrence Ford. Rebound comes to Hawthorne. That shot looked like it was blocked from behind. Battle for the rebound underneath. Cedric Poe getting the start tonight for the Leuzinger Olympians. And the foul will be charged here on Hawthorne. For the home Leuzinger Olympians, Oscar Ortega will be in the backcourt along with Brandon Connor. Shaz Foster, who had a good ball game yesterday in a victory over West Torrance, is at the center position. And they will have Tyrone Reed also in the ball game. And on the ball is Cedric Poe, going to go with a 15-footer. It's up and in. Cedric Poe with a bucket, and that makes it 4-0 in favor of the Leuzinger Olympians. A near steal, and that's Adon Baines. We don't have to tell you who he is. Doing his thing, not able to hit right here. And on the breakout quickly, Cedric Poe ahead of the field. He drives and lays it in. Cedric Poe has got 4, makes it 6-0. Leuzinger off to the quick start on their home court. Thomas Brown, the freshman, has it in the front court for Hawthorne. They shoot at the basket to our right in their road uniforms. That's Ford. Ford in the corner looking down low for O'Belly. Had a good game last night in a loss against Culver City. Not able to hit here in deep. And it's grabbed by Tyrone Reed. Tyrone Reed hands the ball to Brandon Connor at 21 points yesterday in a very impressive victory over West Torrance on the road for the Leuzinger Olympians. Tyrone Reed on the right wing. Oscar Ortega looking to take it to the glass. And on the dish off, it's the bucket by Shaz Foster. Shaz Foster makes it 8-0. The team from Rosecrans in front of the team from El Segundo. Avenues, that is. Patrick in the front court. As Hawthorne tries to get on the scoreboard, we are some 2.5 minutes in, and they have yet to mark here tonight. Get some contact away from the play. If you're wondering record-wise as this call goes against Hawthorne, a little bumping there. The call is going to go, it appears, against Tyrone Reed, rather, for Leuzinger. So the foul is on Leuzinger. Hawthorne Cougars not having a good year, to say the least, as there's a timeout on the court. 8-0 your score. Hawthorne overall is 4-17. In the Ocean League, they are 1-10, but they're not in the cellar because the Beverly Hills Normans are 0-11, so they've avoided the cellar this year. Their one victory being over those Beverly Hills Normans. The Leuzinger Olympians, 15 wins on the year overall. They're 15-7, and perhaps their most impressive victory of the year is you see the bevy of cheerleaders on the near side of the court. Their most impressive victory some 24 hours ago at West Torrance when they defeated West Torrance 71-57. They are one game out of first, and in all likelihood will be in the postseason. Following this timeout, it's 8-0 Adon Baines, 0 for 1 with a shot as his pocket pick. And we come the other way. It's Leuzinger to the front court. Shaz Foster to the right hand, not able to hit. Rebound O'Belly. This will be Baines ahead of the field, and he'll lay it in. Adon Baines getting first points on the board, and I think we've got Rufus with us. How about it, Rufus?
Okay. Thank you. And great work, Dave. Looks like we're back. Test one. Are we still here, guys? Okay, good job. Our score at the 4:46 mark, as Davis told you, now stands Leuzinger 10-2. Hawthorne, of course, as you were saying, not having the kind of season that they would expect. And now we got a slam dunk with a technical by Brandon Connor. Of course, that's the second time we've seen it, but there's a lot of excitement in the air tonight, Dave, particularly here at Leuzinger.
Well, you have to wonder. Both of these teams played less than 24 hours ago, and you got to wonder where they are going to get the energy from Leuzinger, of course, won a very important ball game yesterday on the road, workmanlike performance. The Hawthorne Cougars, as of course the technical foul was called there hanging onto the rim. So the free throw shot and made by the freshman Thomas Brown. He'll get another one. Hawthorne Cougars, they played a whale of a ball game against Culver City, only to come up 4 points down. They led for 3 quarters. They had a double-digit 15-point lead, and they wind up losing by 4 last night on their home court to Culver City. They really expended themselves, and you got to wonder how much do either one of these teams have here tonight. Leuzinger with a better play so far.
Nice pass that time by Adon Baines. Not a play that we call very often when he has the ball, but that's the way Hawthorne runs their offense.
And
he does pass, picks up the assist. Makes it a 12-5 contest now. Just over 4 minutes left here in the first quarter. Here at Lou House, as it's affectionately known, another basket put up on the inside. So Leuzinger right now operating both in the paint and on the perimeter, Dave.
Yes, and the freshman Jonathan Smith got that bucket. Right now, Jonathan Smith and Joe Shepard Jr. are in the ball game. Leuzinger basically going small with the exception of Chaz Foster. And Hawthorne takes a timeout here, Rufus, at the 3:56 mark of the first quarter.
And at the 3:56 mark, as Dave points out, it's all Leuzinger right now. Leuzinger 14-5. Leuzinger with 3 wins in the last, since we last saw him. And of course, here on Channel 22, we've had the luxury of providing a lot of coverage of local sports over the past 6 days. And Leuzinger right now is in great shape overall record-wise in terms of the playoff run. Obviously, will be a playoff team and looking to keep the momentum going.
And of course, they have to play sound basketball for all 4 quarters. As that shot is blocked in the corner, Brandon Dixon's shot knocked away. It looked like O'Belly got the hand on it. Sam O'Belly, the senior, has been having a fine year for Hawthorne. So is Brandon Dixon, the junior, for Leuzinger. It's Leuzinger with the basketball.
Leuzinger with the basketball. Again, Connor on the perimeter. A couple other guys seeing action. We got number 10 in the game. We're going to get him for you in a second. However, the Leuzinger turnover gives it back to Hawthorne.
Now Thomas Brown and Rodney Williams. Hawthorne needs Rodney Williams as he shoots, gets off the shot, not able to hit.
That shot from the outside, no good by Williams. Rebound taken down by Brandon Dixon. Gives it off to Brandon Connor. He wheels and deals and draws the foul on the baseline. Looks like they're going to call that foul against Rodney Williams. And that's actually an indication is that they're going to call on number 21 from Hawthorne, and that's Thomas Brown. Gives me an opportunity to remind you that our officials for tonight's contest, the referee is Steve Elliott. Working along with Steve tonight, we saw Steve in Monday night's contest, is Floyd Hooper. So, Connor misses the first. As a second shot coming up here.
It's Brandon Connor, Shaz Foster, and Brandon Dixon have been the big guns as of late for Leuzinger.
So Connor gets 1 out of 2 to extend the lead to, should be 15-5 by my count.
That's Rodney Williams got that bucket. He had 10 last night against Culver City.
Scored a basket on the triple by Brandon Dixon, 2:49 and counting left here in the first. Scoreboard shows 18-6. We'll let it stand in that basket put up and in on the fall away by Terrence Ford for Hawthorne. I have a foul called here. Looks like it's going to send Leuzinger to the line as they call the foul on number 34, Samuel O'Bailey.
And of course, he has to be aggressive. He is their most effective player in the middle, defensively and offensively. But he doesn't want to get in foul trouble early, as you see Brandon Connor shacks his first free throw. A couple of substitutions right now for Hawthorne. Rodney Williams coming back in. And I believe they have Marcus McNeil out there. Brandon Connor makes 1 out of 2. 2:28 mark. It's a 10-point Leuzinger Olympian lead. And it looks like Leuzinger is going to go to the full-court press, but Adon Baines has no problem breaking it. That follow-up by Obelli is good, and Obelli is going to the free throw line. So Obelli helping out off the miss by Adon Baines. He's now got 4 and a chance for the three-point play. Foul committed by the Leuzinger Olympians. Jacks the free throw, and it is a Leuzinger rebound.
Dixon on the left wing now gets it inside to Chaz Foster. Foster looking to go to the paint. Gonna say it went off of Foster, out of bounds to the Cougars. Cougars, of course, as we mentioned, trying to avenge the earlier in the season 75-61 loss. That shot put up from outside, no good rebound taken down by the Cougars, put back up and in by Samuel Bailey. And we've got ourselves a 19-13 contest, David. And again, this is one of those games where emotion is a much bigger factor than is the record. Because by all accounts, the records being what they are, you wouldn't expect Hawthorne to be this competitive. But here they are right in the thick of it. This is going to be a breakaway basket for Chaz Foster. And he lays it up and in, disdains the slam dunk, as is the preferred shot of most high school ballers when they got a uncontested layup. That shot, an air ball taken down by the Olympians. They get it in the front court. Oh, it spins around and comes out. Tough luck for number 33, Cedric Allen Poe. Right now, the shot clock not being of absolutely any consequence. You can virtually turn it off. These guys are running and gunning tonight, but that's typical of this type of contest. As we see our score, Leuzinger 21, Hawthorne 13 on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22.
Well, Hawthorne coach Travis Showalter is going to get Joe Shepard Jr. back into the ball game. Oscar Ortega comes out.
Connor comes down with the rebound. Nice outlet pass to Chaz Foster, who lays it up and in.
At the 48-second mark of quarter number 1.
This time it's number 5, who of course, as we know, is Tyrone Reed. Connor with the handle now out top. He and Joe Shepard at the guard positions playing up high. Poe, they're going to call for steps.
Yeah, that an obvious call. Poe for getting a dribble, as you see Travis Showalter. When you talk to him off the court, he is one of the most mild-mannered people you'd ever want to meet. I happen to be outside the locker room tonight and hear him talking to the team. And Rufus, I hope you're not that hard on the kids when you coach.
Well, I try not to be, although perhaps I might push him a little bit harder. One of the things we've seen so far tonight, Dave, is that Adon Baines playing a rather understated game, if you will, tonight. We're going to have a foul call. I hear you. What you got is, I forget the call. Help me out here. Anyway, it's going to be Hawthorne's ball.
With just 4 1/10 seconds to go. And last night, this man here hit one from three-quarter court.
There's Baines' a shot, and it drops for him. So Adon Baines hits a shot at the first quarter buzzer to cut the 10-point deficit to 7, makes it a 23-16 game, and that took a little bit of the fire. You could tell the Leuzinger crowd was just getting ready to give him the business, and that shot kind of kept them on their hands.
Well, you talked about Adon Baines. Last night, Adon Baines wound up with a big game offensively, 22 points, but most of them were in the second half. As for the first half, he was a little quiet, electing to try to get the rest of his teammates into the scoring. And in last night's ball game against Culver City, they had the big lead, but petered out at the end. Well, here it was the Leuzinger Olympians off and running. They led by double digits, and now they lead by 7. but the Hawthorne Cougars have been game, and Sam O'Belly leading them with 6 at the end of the quarter. And for the Leuzinger Olympians, Shaz Foster with 8. Both teams have been good, fairly good in the transition game. But obviously Leuzinger a little better of it at this point.
And Leuzinger opens the second quarter with a lineup of Joe Shepard, Chaz Foster, Brandon Connor, Brandon Dixon, and Cedric Poe. Hawthorne's lineup, and we'll get that for you right now, fans, not to do them any disservice. They've got Don Baines on the floor, along with Terrence Ford, David Mitchell wearing jersey number 4. 21 is Thomas Brown. And their other start on the floor, number 40, should be number 42, and I'll have to get him. That's Tremel Mason. There you go. Thanks, Dave.
And when you talked about David Brown for Hawthorne, he hit one from about 40 feet out last night at the end of third quarter. And Hawthorne led Culver City at the end of 3, but were outscored in that fourth quarter and wound up losing by 4.
Ford inbounds to Brown. They also have Marcus McNeil on the floor right now. He's got on jersey number 22. Don Baines with the handle out top, shoots it from NBA three-point range and hits it. Makes it a 23-19 game, so Don Baines has scored the last 6 points in this contest. Most importantly, he's got on a Hawthorne jersey, so the Cougars like that as he draws them within 4. But the basket by Connor extends that lead back to 6 at 25-19. Just under 7 minutes left here in the first half, fans.
Good interior passing in that last trip for the Leuzinger Olympians.
Baines nearly loses the handle, finally does. Hawthorne gets it back. Wraparound pass. Miami 21 shot put up, no good. That was Brown with the wraparound pass. And you're gonna get the blocking call. Baines tried to get in position to draw the foul on Brandon Connor. Referee Steve Elliott right on the play. Says no way, calls him for the block instead.
Well, this would be interesting to see you make the call. But the referee says he has position, and Brandon Connor will be trying to complete what will amount to a spectacular three-point play. I think we're going to pick up the loose ball. We're frozen in time right there.
So instead, we'll watch Connor's free throw, no good. Foster comes away with it. Free throw is good as Foster hits the floor hard.
Well, that foul on O'Connor was on Adon Baines, and we'll see who got credit for this one. Chaz Foster will be trying to complete a three-point play.
And that foul on
Sam
Bailey,
O'Belly.
and that's his third, Dave, of the first half. So if our guess is right, whoa, he's probably going to be going to bench. And now Bailey goes down hard off the contact with Brandon Connor.
Well, nothing intentional. It's just even playing with 3 fouls, still battling hard for that rebound. And Hawthorne is probably going to have to go to Terrence Ford. As you see Sam O'Belly, the senior, shaken up here.
And Coach Joe House takes the occasion to get him out of the game. He was on his way out anyway, as we both had surmised. And he's walking around on his own steam on his sideline. Looks to be in pretty good shape. None the worse for it. Just a slight stinger.
Well, they'll get Carlos Rodriguez in the ball game for him. He's a 6'3" senior.
Baines from the outside. That 3 doesn't go. Rodriguez follows. His shot is up. Let's see him score the basket. Okay, they indicate that it is good, and they're going to call a foul on number 24, except there's no 24 for the Olympians in the contest. We'll look at the scoreboard. Now they indicate 25, because I think that's what the scorekeepers are saying as well. Referee indicated 24, and they're saying there's no 24 on the floor.
Yeah, the PA system called out Brandon Dixon.
And of course, the running PA tonight for the Olympians is Jason Miller, former broadcast partner of mine. Jason got ran out of town, so he decided to be the house announcer And I say that jokingly because Jason's done a fine job as a junior varsity football coach. An alumnus of Leuzinger, having had a very successful high school career here. So our score now, 29-22, 6 minutes left here in the first half. Connor thinks about it from three-point range, drives the lane, gives it off. So one of the things that's happening is that you aren't getting anything cheap in the lane tonight. That's been shown to be one of the rules tonight.
Well, of course, you got to make them earn it. As Adon Baines got called for that foul. That's number 2 for Adon Baines. And it sends him to the free throw line, sends Brandon Connor back there to shoot 2. Both teams are in the bonus at this point. And it looks like they get back into the ball game. Marcus McNeil for Hawthorne. He will replace Terrence Ford.
Second shot no good by Connor. O'Bailey comes down with the rebound. Bit of a surprise to see O'Bailey still in the contest with his 3 fouls. And as much time as it is left. Three-pointer put up and in by Baines. Baines' 3-pointers keeping him in the game right now, Dave.
He's hit his last 3, and he's got 11 points.
Our score, 30-25. Tyrone Reed shot from the outside, no good. Hawthorne crashing the board to get it in the hands of Baines. He comes across our broadcast position, stops him behind the three-point lane. That one's off line, I should have said. Easy play here for Brandon Connor.
Well, when you shoot and you don't make it, of course, you can send somebody back. You're going to get the long rebound off the long miss. And that's what they did that time. Hawthorne had a 2-on-1, and Connor, the beneficiary for the flush. Marcus McNeil got that one at the 32-17.
This time, Brandon Dixon from three-point range doesn't go. Bailey comes down with the rebound. They get the ball in the hands of number 42, Tremel Mason. Mason puts it up from three-point range. Don't think that's the guy you want shooting from out there.
Well, doesn't this particular building look a little more packed than it did the other night?
It certainly does, and of course, that's to be expected in a game like this, Dave. As I said, game where, and of course, rivalries are always fun to see, and that should have been called as a travel. Let's see what they get. Looks like they're going to get a foul call instead, so the Cougar, O'Bailey, is going to get bailed out on the play as he'll go to the line and shoot 2. With Hawthorne trailing by 5 at 32-27.
Yeah, and that foul they got on Shaz Foster. And I believe that's number 1 for Foster. You know, and as we do this ball game, Rufus, you certainly are old enough to remember American Bandstand. You remember Dick Clark used to always go in the crowd. If you could get a shot of us here at side court, we are surrounded by a sea of cheerleaders. Not as bad as it was a second ago because they've gone off to do their routine, but in the second half, it'll probably be better when they get back in the second half. We'll show you folks what we mean.
Foster drives the lane, puts it up and in.
Yeah, there we are. Now, they're not well, we got a little fella here behind us right here. You could see him. We got a young broadcaster. How old are you? How many years? How old are you? 3 years old? 4 years old? Okay, that's good. You can count to 4, all right? Got Rufus Hatt. Well, your son is a little older than that, but we got all kinds of people around us here tonight.
Well, they all come out to see. You got cousins, brothers, nephews, all kinds of family members who are out here. And, of course, a couple of the regulars we do know because we've seen them over the years come here and support their family members and the Leuzinger athletic program. And there's a lot of good family support here, and they're to be commended for that.
And we usually see the principals from these schools here and a lot of other school officials. And everybody's got another day of school tomorrow.
Of course, this game was originally scheduled for tomorrow night, Friday, but I guess it's my understanding that Hawthorne at least is closed tomorrow. Is that what it is? And the decision was made to play the game tonight because it'd be a better turnout than if they'd held it tomorrow.
Yeah, I think everybody could use a good night's sleep. Is Marcus McNeil going to get 2?
McNeil hits the second, makes the score 34-30 now. So again, Hawthorne showing a great deal of resiliency for a team coming in with a record of 4-17 overall, 1-10 in Ocean League competition. Another basket there by Brandon Connor. Connor's been on a streak of late, Dave. I mean, the last 3 games that we've certainly covered of theirs, I mean, he's been nothing short of terrific. Of course, and the wealth has been spread around. Leuzinger is a team, you know, we see a lot of teams and they say, well, this one guy is a team, and such as at Hawthorne, you know, Baines obviously is the key to their offense. We watched Culver City the other night, number 42 for them. On this Leuzinger team, as Connor misses the free throw, but Dixon comes down with the rebound. They've got 3-4 legitimate offensive threats, and that puts a lot of pressure on your defense.
Well, Joe Shepard gets the foul here. It looked like yeah, between him and Baines, it could have gone either way. One thing that I guess Leuzinger, in seeing the films of Hawthorne play last night, or if they were in the Hawthorne Cougars den last night to scout the game, they saw that Culver City in the second half took it to the hole on Hawthorne. They didn't do that in the first half, but the second half, they just simply took it to the rack. And that's what you've seen Brandon Connor and Chaz Foster do here in this first half. And it's worked. I mean, they're getting to the free throw line. This has been a very slow second quarter because there have been a lot of fouls. There have been a lot of foul shots taken. So particularly Leuzinger getting to the free throw line. And both teams playing aggressive, so everybody's open limit. And that's 6 points on 4 free throws from Marcus McNeil.
And Leuzinger right now clinging only to a 4-point lead. Foster's inside shot blocked. Leuzinger comes away with the rebound, however. Joe Shepard from 3-point range. His shot no good. Hawthorne comes down with the rebound. Looking to run. They get it down to Baines. He steps outside the 3-point lane. His 3-pointer no good. Now you're going to have a breakaway. Whoa, hard foul there. And the referee, Steve Elliott, quickly calls a flagrant foul. He called a flagrant. I think he anticipated that, and he got what he anticipated. He had the flagrant foul signal already, and the Hawthorne defender lived up to his expectation. So that's going to be 2 shots plus the ball for Leuzinger.
Well, Marcus McNeil, the senior, gets called for the flagrant, and Joe Shepard Jr. will be doing the shooting.
If we got a replay of that, because we're going to get a couple of free throws here. Okay. Here you see the break. Here you see Shepard going in, and you see the contact there as he's ridden out of bounds. Very hard. Doesn't look quite as hard as original, but nonetheless, thank you guys in the truck for that. As always, the very finest South Bay production crew.
And Marcus McNeil was having some words with the officials and with Joe Shepard Jr. So he was told to calm down. Marcus McNeil feeling that it was not flagrant, that he was probably going for the ball. Maybe he was, but just wasn't in the right position to get the ball.
And officials also do pregame preparation as well, Dave. In one of our games in the future, we'll highlight that as we're going to have a foul call against the Olympians. But coming into a game like this, these guys know when they step into the arena. Okay, we've got Hawthorne and Leuzinger, crosstown rivals. Emotions can get very heated. These guys, the arena is going to be full. You make a call like that to keep down the histrionics and to keep down a potential flare-up. I think it was a good call by the official in light of the circumstances.
Well, Jermaine Humes getting some playing time. He was fouled, and he's on the free throw line, hit his first. That foul committed that time by Tyrone Reed. That's number 3 for Tyrone Reed of Leuzinger.
Humes misses the second. Foster comes down with the rebound, passes it off to Dixon, high dribble. He picks up the dribble. His 3-pointer is short. Baines comes up with the rebound, readily accepts the challenge of Joe Shepard guarding him. Shepard now wisely backs off into a more traditional defensive position, although guarding him out high. 22 drives to the basket, puts a shot up, it's no good. Foster comes down with the rebound, looks to run, gets it over to Dixon. Now back over to Poe. Poe from 3-point range, his shot no good. Shepard comes down with it. Shepard puts the shot up and in. Scored now at the 250 mark. Leuzinger 39, Hawthorne 33. Hawthorne hanging tough, though. Baines from three-point range. His shot no good. Baines with the steal. Baines goes layup, reverse. Doesn't get it to drop for him, though. Poe dribbles up out of the defensive pressure of Hawthorne. Givens also in the game. They got Shepard trapped on the sideline, and they get the traveling call against Joe Shepard.
Well, the Hawthorne Cougars are right in this ball game. I mean, perhaps Baines' hot streak is over. He had the three-pointers, and if he doesn't have it right now, he's just going to have to get someone else, get his other teammates into the offense.
Well, he's certainly a streak shooter, as we know. Just by way of comparison, fans, in our first contest at the half, it was a one-point ball game by Leuzinger. Right now, we got Leuzinger by 6 with 2 minutes left, but Hawthorne has the ball. The chance to close that deficit to 4 or less. Baines goes baseline. They're going to call Joe Shepard with the hold on it. They're in the bonus, so that's going to send Adon Baines to the line to shoot 2. And he's a pretty decent free throw shooter, Dave, as we've seen throughout the course of this season.
Well, unfortunately for Adon Baines, he doesn't get to the line that much because he mostly shoots them outside. Does not, he eschews the penetration. And as you can see, Shaq's the first here.
And there's the old announcer jinx. Just when you see a guy's a pretty good free throw shooter, he steps up, and what does he do? He misses. Gets the second to go. Makes it a 39-34 game now. Poe bringing it up. Poe gives it off to Givens on the right side. Givens leaves it on the floor, but he gets bailed out on the foul call. Looks like they're going to call Tremel Mason with the foul.
Well, yes, it was on Mason, and we mentioned at the 147 mark, this has been a slow quarter due to the fouls. It's been a lot of free throw shooting. Team's getting a lot of practice.
Givens at the line gets the first to go.
Leuzinger shot now 12 free throws in the first half.
Givens gets a pair to go, so it makes it a 7-point ball game. Leuzinger's biggest lead in a while. Hawthorne has hung right around that 4 and 6 mark. Near turnover there by Baines. They get it back. Cougars still playing good defense. Baines now has it, thinks about the tray, gives it off in the corner, and the tray is put up and in by Jermaine Humes. So we're back to a 4-point game. And that's what you like. This one is coming just as advertised, Dave.
Yeah, well, the fact that the game is slowed with all the free throws, it's keeping Hawthorne in. Hawthorne has had about 15 free throws in this half, most of them in the second quarter, and Leuzinger, we mentioned, has had 12.
Shot by Poe, no good. Mason looking for someone to give it to. Gets it in the hands of Terrence Ford. That shot from the outside, no good. Hawthorne competing for the rebound. They get it. They don't take possession of it. So Poe does, and he's pushing it up the court. Misses the breakaway, gives it off to Foster. Foster blows the layup. 40 seconds, clock running. Left here in the first half. Ball's going to be knocked out of Jermaine Humes' hands by Joe Shepard Jr. Possession remains with the Cougars. 30 seconds left on the shot clock, 36 on the game clock.
Hawthorne 8 out of 14 from the free throw line.
And possession will remain with the Cougars. Ball goes into the backcourt on the inbounds play. Not a violation in high school basketball. Baseline, looks like it's gonna be a turnover, and it is. Turnover by the Cougars. They blow an opportunity to cut the deficit from 4 to 2 or less. Olympians now, last shot opportunity. Clock under 10 seconds. 5. That shot up and in at the 2-second mark. makes it a 43-37 game as we go into the locker room at halftime on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. Very exciting first half, Dave, as the Olympians go to the locker room with a 6-point lead at 43-37 on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22.
And I think as we go to the second half, you will see both teams, especially Leuzinger more so, continue to try to take it to the hole and try to draw the fouls. And rebounding is going to be a big key. And, of course, stamina in the second half. And stamina this year is not always favored the Hawthorne Cougars. So it should be an interesting second half. It was a very, very long second quarter. But the third quarter, of course, is upcoming.
Fans, join us for the second half of tonight's contest on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. We'll see you at the top of the second half. Thank you. All right, fans, we're back for the second half. There you see we're getting underway right now. That's Reed inbounding to Ortega. Ortega didn't get a lot of PT in that first half, Joe, and now we got a foul right off the top. Interesting call. This call made out on top by Floyd Hooper. The indication was that the foul was on Adon Baines. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Well, but anyway, it looks like they restarted the half. No call against anybody, just a restart of the second half. Bad pass that time by Reed, picked off by the Hawthorne defense. The ball in the hand of Baines, something we didn't see a whole lot of first half. Baines with a nice pass there. Shot up, no good, but the tip put up and in by Humes.
Well, Jermaine Humes now has 6, and with Sam O'Belly being in foul trouble with 4, they're going to have to find some other options.
That shot from the outside put up by Oscar Ortega. Three-pointer makes it a 46-39 game. Humes goes up, his shot no good again. That one's going to be thrown away by the Cougars. And you're right, with the absence of O'Bailey, Hawthorne lacks bulk on the inside, a bulky presence. They've got a couple of tall guys, but you would think that their guys can get muscled out of there. They come away with the rebound that time. That's Humes who comes down with it.
Hawthorne is also without Lewis White. Had a fine ball game last night, but not in there, not going to be playing tonight. So Terrence Ford will be the big man tonight.
And what we saw then on the Hawthorne possession, an illegal screen set by Marcus McNeil. Referee quick with the whistle on it.
That's number 3 for McNeil.
Connor goes to the basket, lays it up and in off the board. Connor saw the hole in the zone that time and sliced and diced his way right to the basket, Dave.
Well, again, you have to be impressed the way the big man O'Connor and Chaz Foster are taking it to the hole. That's something that Culver City did last night, and Leuzinger doing it tonight against the Hawthorne Cougars.
Right now, a score of 48-39 is going to be Hawthorne ball out of bounds. Hawthorne was as close as 4 points at one stage here in the third quarter. We're still in the early stage. Just got 6 minutes, 11 seconds left. But now, Leuzinger's extended that lead back out to 9 points. And Hawthorne needs to stay within striking distance. They don't want to get down too far. That three-pointer, no good by Baines. Ortega from three-point range again. This time it's no good. Connor goes over the top, comes down with the rebound. Shot put back up by Reed. He was fouled on the shot. He's going to go to the line and shoot 2. Indication from the official is that it's on number 22 for the Cougars. And, of course, that's Marcus McNeil.
And that's going to be number 4 for Marcus McNeil. And they've got Carlos Rodriguez out there now. So Hawthorne Cougars running out of big people. As going to the free throw line is Tyrone Reed. Got his first point of the night. Yesterday when Leuzinger defeated West Torrance, it was mainly great half-court sets. They were able to get work the ball down low. Tonight they're simply taking it to the hoop, taking it off the dribble to the hoop for the big people. yesterday against West Torrance, they were able to get them the ball in good position, and they used their decisive height advantage over the West Torrance team.
And at 50-39, Leuzinger has one of its biggest leads of the game. Going to have a jump ball call here. Possession arrow favors Hawthorne. Humes able to tie up Chaz Foster on the play.
Hawthorne is going to have to go to David Mitchell now in the ball game.
And that shot put up by Humes off the perimeter.
It's his second three-pointer of the night. He's got 9 points.
Makes it a 50-42 game now. 5.5 left in the third. Ortega in the lane. Ortega dipsy-do. Connor with the follow. And again, that's what I was saying. Leuzinger's big men just have too much bulk on the inside for the Cougars to be able to hold him out. Baines drives to the basket. Short pull-up jumper doesn't go for him. Ortega underneath. Ortega puts it up and in. And I think you're going to have Joe House with the timeout here as this one starts to get away from him just a little bit at 54-42 with 4:56 left in the third quarter on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. We're at Lou House tonight, fans, and we hope you're enjoying the show.
Well, they put on quite a halftime show here, the Leuzinger cheerleading squad and pep squad and drill team. They certainly did. And you got to feel for Joe House, the man who you just saw in the picture. You're looking at the Leuzinger bench now. He's had a tough year, but he continues to basically try to get the best out of these players. You take a look at the standings. West Torrance still a game ahead of the Leuzinger Olympians, and those 7 and 4 teams, El Segundo, Torrance, and then you got Culver City and Mira Costa. So basically you have El Segundo, Torrance, Culver City, and Mira Costa kind of battling for a third or fourth playoff spot. West Torrance and Leuzinger pretty much in. And the other interesting thing this year, Rufus, I guess, as everybody knows if you read the sports pages in Los Angeles, is the CIF has come up with this rule this year that if you have 10 wins overall and you don't win your conference, you can petition the CIF for an at-large bid. Now, that next year and on is going to be a very controversial thing. Some people feel that, well, what teams on the higher divisions are simply going to start doing are scheduling Rufus's son's team in the tournament and just padding and getting their 10 wins before they even get into conference. But Rufus, I think that if that happens, what's simply going to happen is what happens in the NCAA. They're going to start looking at your strength of schedule, and then we're going to have more bureaucratic red tape in the CIF.
Well, I can assure you with me sitting at the end of the bench, that's no gimme that's a W, even with my 9-year-olds against some of these 17-year-olds. I coach the heck out of those guys. Got to come out and see us sometimes. Right now, score stands 54-45 in favor of the Olympians as Tyrone Reed's going to go to the line to shoot too. He was fouled on his drive to the basket.
Yeah, I guess the point there being, Rufus, is as someone wrote a column today, that last foul committed by Brandon Connor, that's going to be 4 for him, I believe. And
it shouldn't be on Connor because Leuzinger's at the line.
Oh, excuse me. Well, now I'm going to have to go to the eraser. Well, I'm trying to do 2 things at one time. That's what I'm trying to get to this playoff story. Basically, the way it came out, the way they were talking about it today was the feeling is that teams are going to just start overloading in the month of December with teams that they know they can beat to get their 10 wins. And my feeling is that if that happens, they are simply going to start doing what they do in the NCAA. They say, okay, well, we'll start doing a strength of schedule sort of thing, and that'll sort of counterbalance it. That'll probably keep teams from loading up on teams that they know are going to be guaranteed wins so that they, in effect, make you earn those 10 wins. At least that's what I hope happens.
And there are a couple of good games. If you like high school sports, speaking of information, there's Baines' shot from way downtown. It doesn't go. Drew iron, but didn't draw any net. Score still stands at 55-45. Ortega drives the lane, doesn't get it to drop. Hits the floor hard, though. Hawthorne looking to run. Baines puts it up. Almost lost the handle. Guy's a magician with the basketball, that's for sure. And this basket makes it an 8-point game. One of the things I was about to mention, he's going to get, and Baines hits Ortega there in the face with the foul. Goes over, picks him up. Display of sportsmanship there by Don Baines. And he's been nothing but a sport the whole 4 years we've watched him here in the program, Dave. And it'll be a new day for Hawthorne basketball, to say the least, when he closes out his high school career this year. But he's brought nothing but excitement and fun every time he stepped on the floor.
And of course, Baines, as you see there, getting a seat, going to take a little breather. He's got 17. In the game that they played at Hawthorne between these two teams, he was hurt in the later stages of the game. Yes, Foster now has 14 off of that bucket.
Still a 10-point game, and you got to think there's a steal by Humes, nearly stolen back by the Olympians. And you got to think that Coach House is content to hang around right at about 10 points until he can get a Bailey back in. That three-pointer put up, it's no good. Follow-up shot put up by number 21, Brown, no good again. Call a foul on the dribble. They call it against Jermaine Humes. That'll be ball out of bounds to the Olympians. Ortega inbounds to Foster, who gets it over to Connor. One Brandon to another. You got Ortega, Connor, and Dixon playing out on the perimeter. Cole and Foster playing inside for the most part. There to get it down low to Foster. He doesn't get it to go. Thought he was fouled on the play. Olympians come away with it, and you're going to have a body foul called on Ortega as he drives Thomas Brown out of bounds on the far sideline.
Only 2 team fouls for the Leuzinger Olympians. That's the first on Baines. This quarter going much quicker than that second quarter did when it was spent mostly at the free throw line. And I believe in this third quarter, Leuzinger's only had 2 free throws.
Scored a basket on the breakaway for Joe Shepard. Makes it a 59-47 game, 2:40 left here in the third. And now the wheel's starting to come off just a little bit for Hawthorne. Going to the line is going to be Chaz Foster. Fouled on the play. It's a 12-point game. Once again, not a little out of the range that Coach House is comfortable with.
Well, Chaz Foster taking it in. It was a 3-on-1 that time, and Foster earns the trip to the charity stripe, where he is 2 shacks on the night from the line. Got 14 overall. That foul committed by Rodney Williams that time. That, I believe, is number 2 for Williams.
Nathan Patrick and Terrence Ford come on for the Olympians. No, excuse me, for the Cougars, along with number 25, Rodney Williams. Joined on the floor by Jermaine Humes and Carlos Rodriguez. And Humes with the basket there. And Humes has picked up his game since the first time we saw them.
Oh, yes, yes, he has. Gotten more playing time with the senior.
Ford with it. Stop, pop, that shot short. Oh, good. And we're going to get a foul call. Excellent give and go play between Shepard and Connor. And they scored a basket.
Well, that's what you call a crowd pleaser. You can see them working at 2-on-1. And Connor wanted to dunk that, but of course, if he tried to dunk it, he probably gets a charge. Nevertheless, he goes up, and the foul is committed by Joe Shepard. I believe that's number 3 on Shepard. And here's Brandon Connor looking for 20 points, not able to get it just yet.
Rebound taken down strong by Nathan Patrick. Ford off the right wing, puts it up. His shot is short. Right now, here comes another. Here comes a slam dunk. And at 64-49, Hawthorne forced to call another timeout as they trail now by 15 with 1:35 left here in the third quarter. As we watch the replay, and there you see Brandon Connor with the slam dunk. on Lawndale's community cable channel 22.
Well, he knew that was going to be a TV replay, and of course now he's over the 20-point mark with 21, got him emphatically. And the Leuzinger Olympians making this like clockwork right now, playing like a team that is getting themselves in gear for postseason. And they're going to have a rest for a couple of days. They will not play again until Tuesday. They'll have 5 days off, and they'll go on the road and play Torrance.
Baines shot from the outside, no good. Looks like they're getting a foul call inside against the Olympians. And the indication is that it's against Brandon Dixon. As I said, Leuzinger only had 2 team fouls before that one. That'll take him up to 3, so it's not a shooting situation. Baines with a bit of a dipsy-do there as he takes it around the head of Joe Shepard. Draws a ooh and ah from the crowd. Shot put up by Terrence Ford on the baseline. Tough baseline shot. Gets it to drop, though.
Terrence Ford with 4 points. Sam O'Belly, 4 fouls in all in the ballgame right now.
Reed goes to the basket. Got a little contact, didn't get a foul call, but he did score a pair. Back to a 15-point game. This time, Joe Shepard steals it.
Well, Shepard's going to be talking about that one, that's for sure. Picking it on Baines' pocket. 2 in a row.
And Shepard again steals it from Baines, and Baines comes up limping. And now we're getting close to, and I have no idea what this is all about. Some of the stuff you see.
Well,
motions. Technical is going to be called. Boy, the refs got to get this sorted out.
Motion's going to work. We said we knew that you figured Joe Shepard would be talking about that first steal. Little do we know he does it again. And this time, of course, the contact made. Shepard and Baines having words with each other. Baines went off the court limping. Shepard having to be restrained by his teammates, and it looked like his sister or someone came out of the stands and grabbed him too.
And you know, you hate to label a guy, but if there's one knock I had to give on a Don Baines, you know, you see them 4 times over the last 2 years in particular, and he has a bit fragile. I mean, I've yet to see a game where he didn't get hurt at, you know, or injured, particularly in the legs, and once again he goes off having suffered a leg injury.
Well, he's out here, of course. Have a seat, the technical fouls. Comes at the 32.9 mark. Well, there are double technicals, actually. That means free throws taken by Hawthorne.
Jermaine Humes at the line to shoot the Hawthorne technicals. Both officiating crew keeping a tight lid, and I can appreciate that, and I'm sure the coaching staff can too on this contest.
Well, Joe Shepard Jr. and Don Baines will both have seats, cool off a little bit, and at an interesting sequence.
Three-pointer put up and in by Jermaine Humes. I got to tell you, this kid has shown me something in this game that I didn't see before. And it's quite frankly been nothing short of impressive. It's a 70-56 ball game. I'll take it dribbles out on the wing. O'Bailey in. O'Bailey having to guard the line. O'Bailey comes away with the 5 seconds left. They got a 2-on-1. You got to give it up. And they're going to call the travel. 1.6 seconds left. Samuel O'Bailey with an opportunity to cut that deficit to 2 if he gives the ball up to the ball handler. But you know how those big men get sometimes, Dave. You put the ball in their hands, and they just don't like to give it up to a guard. sometimes. So, after 3 quarters, here fans, as we can hardly hear ourselves as the crowd really is starting to get into it now. Our score, 70 for the Olympians, 56 for the Hawthorne Cougars. We're at the Lou House here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22.
Well, you take a look at some of the remaining games. Both of these teams will have 2 on the schedule. Of course, Hawthorne not going to the postseason, but Leuzinger gets 5 days off, and they go away to play Torrance, and they finish up at home next week against El Segundo. That'll be a Thursday night game, and yes, we will have both of those games here on Channel 22. Good news for Hawthorne. They get to go home in 5 days and play Beverly Hills, the only team in the conference that has not won and the only team they have beaten. And they might be in a position to help Leuzinger as they play West Torrance in their last game. And then, of course, you see West Torrance's schedule. They go to Beverly Hills tomorrow, which will probably be a win in all probability. They get El Segundo away, which will not be easy next Tuesday, and they close out at home against Hawthorne.
Leuzinger's ball to inbound. That's Connor with it, gives it off to Dixon. O'Bailey's in there now, which will give Hawthorne some presence in the middle, except O'Bailey has to play very soft. And sometimes that can hurt you when you got to play soft on defense to protect yourself from fouls. Oh, pass there, not intended for number 22, Marcus McNeil. McNeil had his eyes closed, and when you have your eyes closed, you're obviously going to miss the pass.
Well, 22nd timeout taken by Leuzinger, but it would appear that Hawthorne needs a timeout more than the Leuzinger Olympians at this point. Some 26 seconds into this fourth quarter. In that third quarter, Leuzinger outscored Hawthorne 27-19. Their biggest point output.
As you can see, our score right now, as we open fourth quarter action, we've only gone about 26 seconds. Joe House, you see there, trying to motivate his troops to victory, and I'll give you a story about Coach House after tonight's contest. I've wanted to save it until then, so as not to create a situation where one would think there are any excuses for Hawthorne, because I'm sure Joe House doesn't need any excuses. So Joe Shepard filling it on the perimeter. After a couple of steals against Adon Baines, I guess that'll get your confidence sky high. As Connor drives right past O'Bailey, who's left to do nothing but spectate on the defensive end. Three-pointer put up no good by the Olympians. That was Terrence Ford. This time he gets the 3-point-3 the hard way as he scores a basket and will go to the line to shoot the free throw.
Well, he's now, Terrence Ford, being forced to pick up the slack, with, of course, Sam O'Bailey cannot play as aggressively as he would like to. And they're going to need some kind of contribution from him. They also have Carnell Cannon, the senior, on the court right now. As Terrence Ford completes a three-point play, he's got 7 on the night.
Free throw is good. Makes it a 13-point ball game at 72-59. Of course, Leuzinger still with the lead. There you're going to have a foul by Ford. Well, we thought there was going to be a foul by Ford. However, violation was called instead by the official. Gives Hawthorne the basketball with a chance to cut into this deficit. Missing key inside shots. Tie up there. Jump ball, alternating possession. Favors
I think it's favoring Hawthorne right now. Sam O'Bailey basically had to sit out that whole third quarter, so has not scored since the first half. The 7 points, 6 of them in the first quarter, only 1 free throw in the second quarter, and he picked up 4 fouls.
Out top here from three-point range, shooting shot up too long that time. Had a good open look. Shot down to Connor. Hawthorne hasn't had an answer for Brandon Connor tonight. That shot put up by Dixon, who a couple of nights ago was right on his three-pointer. Hadn't been able to find the range tonight with the kind of consistency that he'd like. Marcus McNeil, number 22, to get it over to 33. Back over to Ford now. Ford from three-point range. His shot doesn't go. And they're going to get an over the back on Chaz Foster.
And for Chaz Foster, I believe that is going to be number 3 on Chaz Foster. So he and O'Belly battling that time at the 5:49 mark. Both teams are now in the penalty situation.
And with 3 fouls, Foster's going to take a seat on the bench for a moment. That'll bring Maurice Givens, number 31, on the floor. They get it inside to O'Bailey. His shot doesn't go. Connor dribbles and into the front court. Gives it off to Reed, down to Givens, in the corner over to Dixon. Now you got Connor with it. He puts it up and gets a charge call on the play.
Well, for O'Connor, he is, I believe, has four or 5 fouls right now. So he's still on the court, so it's got to be just 4. It's 4 fouls.
Humes from range, 3-pointer doesn't go. Referee indicates he wants a reset on the shot clock, I believe.
Well, Rufus and I are somewhere in that pack. As you see,
right.
Someone, is that, I don't look like that banner was upside down. Couldn't pick that one up. As you can see around the sides of this building, they have banners honoring all of the Leuzinger Olympians. This, of course, not the last home game. They'll play their last home game here next week against El Segundo. Should be a big one.
Jonathan Smith with the shot. He puts it up and in.
The freshman's got 2 buckets tonight.
O'Bailey deep inside. O'Bailey gets it up and in. Makes it a 74-61 game. Hawthorne needing a run if they want to get back in this thing. Right now they trail by 13 with 4:45 left in the contest.
And with O'Belly being in foul trouble, that's his first field goal since the first quarter, his first point since the second. He's got 9, and of course him getting, he had to play aggressive, but he got in foul trouble, and that's been a factor.
And that shot, a deuce put up and in. 74-63, 11-point ball game. Maybe we're starting to see the beginnings of the Hawthorne run that we just talked about.
Well, when you throw it away, get a steal like that into the man who's been hot, Jermaine Humes. He's had some big buckets.
They get it inside. O'Bailey puts it up and in. And I think, now what have we got?
Well, the bucket counted that time. The referee pointing at the freshman, Jonathan Smith.
And actually what he saw, in all fairness to Jonathan, not to give him a bad rap, he saw a piece of gum on the floor. I don't know if he saw Jonathan throw it or whatever, but he asked him to pick it up and get it off the floor. And Smith complied, and we'll be back to live action with Leuzinger inbounding. And we've got ourselves an 8-point game, fans. It was 19 a few minutes ago. We're under 4 minutes, though. Hawthorne again. What they need is good defense. Leuzinger pulls it out, show that they're going to hold it. Running their offense from out at the top of the key and higher. Foster drives the lane. What are they going to call? They call the charge on Foster.
And
so all of a sudden, you've got Hawthorne with a chance here to cut it to 6, if not 5, with 3:35 left in the contest. Still no sighting of Adon Baines. I don't know if he's out due to injury or CD, as it's called, coach's decision. But he's on the bench as his Cougars are trying to get back into this contest.
For Leuzinger, Chaz Foster with 4, Brandon Connor with 4, and of course for Hawthorne, Sam O'Belly with 4. And similar to the first time these two teams met when Baines went down, Hawthorne seemed to get the better of play. And they're doing it right here without Adon Baines.
dangerous cross-court pass by the Cougars, knocked away by the Olympians. Humes inbounds to 33 is Cannon. Got Ford on the wing. Ford's three-pointer is too long. Got to get back on defense here. Good shot blocked from behind that time by Terrence Ford. And here we go. Turnover there. Blows a layup that time. So Connor, with just a little bit of egg on his face, wanted to do something different. Scored a basket for Bailey, makes it 74-68. Fans, we got ourselves a ball game. Stay where you are right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. As these Hawthorns refuse to quit, now you're going to have a foul call, which is going to send them to the line. And if that's on O'Bailey, that, I believe, is going to be his fifth. And that's going to be a huge bad break for the Cougars.
Well, not that any foul is a good foul or a bad foul, but certainly if you're going to commit that fifth foul, that's probably not the way you would want to do it. Well, O'Bailey's still out there, so maybe it wasn't called on him.
Well, I think what the official is saying, it wasn't time for the substitute to come on the floor, is what my guess is going to be. And now you get the substitute coming on. And that's exactly what it was.
For some reason, I thought when you foul out, you just got to get out of there, and they put someone out on there. But, yeah, you're right again, Rufus.
Now the official goes to the sideline. And I think what he's trying to get clear, it would appear, Dave, is whom the foul was called on. And okay, and they are clear that the foul was called on a Bailey as originally indicated. And that means that he's been disqualified from the night's contest. So with 2:45 left in the game and Hawthorne down by 7, they've got to go without the services of O'Bailey, which means they don't have much size in terms of bulk on the inside. It's going to be up to the kid Rodriguez to step up now. Humes on the baseline. They say he stepped out of bounds. Leuzinger basketball. Deuces are wild at 2:22. Our score 75-68.
Good defense by the Leuzinger Olympians those last two trips.
If you're Hawthorne, you can only do one thing, and that's play good defense right now. That's the first thing you got to do. Then you get the ball and you score. But defense comes first.
Leuzinger playing the shot clock right here.
And the very knowledgeable basketball crowd here knows that this isn't the time to be leaving. So not a soul has left the arena.
And I don't think that shot clock should have been reset. It never touched the rim. The shot was blocked, and the shot clock got reset. It should have been down under 10 seconds. So I think that's what they may be talking about. 1:52 on the game clock. And they're going to have to get that shot clock situation straightened out. There you see a Cougar hung on a basket right there. Interesting. The Cougar mascot, they hung him here. How about that? And there will be 5 seconds on the shot clock.
5 on the shot. If you're Hawthorne, Shepard's shot from downtown doesn't go. Ball loose. Leuzinger comes up with it. I'm sure they'll run clock here. Minute 43 left. They get into the hands of Ortega. We're going to get a foul call. This foul's going to be on McNeil, you would think, and of course they're in the bonus situation. Some of the crowd starts to foul out now.
Yeah, it does make it a little less less heated in here, but it's interesting. They actually hung that Cougar mascot. What a creative. I don't know if they put some sort of phony sneaker on him or something like that, it appears. There's tomorrow in the Ocean League. You see the schedule. West Torrance, Beverly Hills, El Segundo, Culver City, Miracosta at Torrance. These two teams will have a well-deserved day off.
Joe Shepard converts a pair to make it a 9-point lead now for the Olympians. We're under a minute and a half. That shot put up, no good. I think you can just about put the W down for the Olympians. 11-point game, just over a minute left, fans. Once again, the Cougars were game early on as Hawthorne calls a timeout.
Well, for Hawthorne fans, they get Beverly Hills next. I guess that's the good news. And that will be a home game on Tuesday. They got a couple of days to rest up. Leuzinger has some time to rest up. And they'll be taking on Torrance on the road. We'll have that ball game for you on Tuesday. So that man right there, Travis Showalter, you can see being very emphatic with his team, and he was giving them a going over before the ball game. So apparently the conversation worked to perfection here in this ball game, at least. At the 106 mark, Leuzinger Olympians on their way to going 16-7 on the year and 9-3 in the Ocean League, and will be a half game behind West Torrance. West Torrance, of course, playing tomorrow against Beverly Hills on the road.
Scored a basket there.
It's Cannon with the three-pointer, 56 seconds to go. They're just going to play the shot clock right at about here.
Let me finish the game and I'll talk to you in a second. Back to an 8-point game. Gonna have a foul call here against the Hawthorne. If you're Hawthorne, your strategy has to be, Dave, quick fouls and hope they miss the free throws and you score quick baskets.
And they're going to need, well, with at least 4 possessions in 39 and 7/10 seconds. And they're going to need a lot of clock stoppages. As we see Ortega on that free throw line.
Gets the first. The win here tonight, fans, will up the Leuzinger record to 16-7 overall, 9-3 in league competition. Hawthorne will fall to 4-18 overall, 1-11 in Ocean League competition. 10-point game. Outcome no longer in doubt. Only thing in doubt now is the margin of victory. Three-pointer put up, that's no good. Comes back down to the Cougars. Ford with a three-pointer gets it to go. 21 seconds, clock counting. Makes it a 7-point game.
Interestingly enough, Rufus, both of these teams have 4 players in double figures. Hawthorne, that's going to lose. Adon Baines will be the leading scorer with 17. Jermaine Hume, 16. O'Belly, 13. Terrence Ford, 12.
10 seconds left. Another three-pointer. 4-point game. But, boy, I tell you, it's going to be the old adage of too little, too late, Dave.
And I believe we got that last three-pointer. Was it Cannon?
I believe so, although I can't be sure about that. In fact, I thought it was Ford, but it may have been Cannon.
Okay. Well, your eyesight, we'll go with your eyesight. That'll give Ford 15 points. For Leuzinger, they have 4 players in double figures. Brandon Connor will finish with 23. Oscar Ortega, Joe Shepard with 11. And Shaz Foster with 15.
Maurice Givens at the line. Shoots the front end of the 1-and-1. Givens gets 2, makes it a 83-77 game with 3 seconds left, and that'll be our final or something close to it. Scored a 3, make it a 83-80 game. Scored not quite indicative of how close it was. But that's the final here at Lou House. So this year, Dave, Leuzinger completes the daily double on the Cougars as they beat them both away and at home this year. Of course, it's been a great season for the Olympians, and they were somewhat favored coming in, and they made it hold up. But a good game. Hawthorne came in extremely competitive. Baines went out midway through the fourth. Not that that would have turned the tide per se, but you never know. But at any rate, it's a Leuzinger win.
And if there's one positive thing that you can take away from a ball game, certainly one of those situations where the final score does not indicate the fact that it was basically a domination by Leuzinger, is the fact that Leuzinger did very well from the free throw line. They spent a lot of time on the line, and if you have postseason aspirations, you well know, Rufus, that in the postseason, you have got to hit your free throws. The further you go in playoff competition, the free throw line can make or break you. And one thing Leuzinger did do here tonight is they did hit some free throws when they had to. And taking a look at the way the final score was only 3, if they go less than 50% on those free throws, it could have been a different ball game. So that's one positive they can take away. Also, the fact that coming off of what might have been their most impressive win of the year on the road against the tough West Torrance team, they come in here tonight and they put away their crosstown rivals, the Hawthorne Cougars. Had a little bit of trouble, but not much, as they're able to pretty much get it in hand by halftime.
So that makes our final, once again, fans, on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. 83 for the Olympians, 80 for the Cougars. Let me just take a moment here to say that, put this in some context. Coach Joe House lost his sister-in-law today, a very dear friend and co-worker of mine named Dottie Fuller, who was also the aunt of Corey Thetford, who played at Hawthorne football a year ago, a member of the Hawthorne family. Coach House, being the man that he is, understood his obligation to his players, put his feelings aside today at the loss of his sister-in-law, came out and coached his team as best he could under difficult circumstances. Same thing for me to call the game, having found out right before tip-off that I'd lost a very close friend, very close and dear friend. But nonetheless, that's the lesson of life. Life goes on, and it's for the living. So, to all the members of the Hawthorne Cougar family who will be wishing Coach House the best on his loss, I extend my condolences to them as well. Once again, on behalf of the entire crew here at Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22, our final, Leuzinger 83, Hawthorne 80. Let's say good night, fans.
Good night.
Some Budweiser girls. Why don't you get some Budweiser